So if you didn't see, a couple hours earlier today, just a few short hours ago, the Forbidden Unlimited list update for the TCG format just dropped. And I have seen this entire list already, so we're not getting a blind react, but I do already know all of the stuff on it. So let's just talk about it. We'll go through all the cards and we'll talk about it. So first card, we have the Infernity Archfiend going from 1 copy to 3. Fine, whatever. Infernity is like the prototype of all like modern combo decks anyway. Like, who cares if they have 3 copies of Archfiend now? This deck still just dies to 1 interaction anyway. Having 1 more copy of Archfiend surely isn't gonna help that much, right? Unicorn, Kashtira Unicorn going from 2 to 3, sure, fine. I mean, without a Rise Heart, we really don't need to be hurting the rest of the Kashtira package. At least like this maybe makes Kashtira as its like own deck or own engine like a little bit better. Then we got Mind Control going from 1 to 3, which is kind of crazy considering we have Change of Heart in the format, and also a little bit something else later on, but we'll talk about that. Mind Control is usually just like a side deck card for going second, or I guess if you're a dedicated going second deck. We got Pot of Desires going back to 3 from 2. I'm gonna be honest, I wish they would just make up their mind on this one. This has been flopping around from like 3 to 2 to, isn't it at 1? I can't tell anymore. It's at 1 in Master Duel, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Just make up your mind. Is this something worth hitting, or what's going on here? So they semi-limited it a little while ago, and then people stopped playing it because it's semi-limited. So its play rate went down. And they saw that the play rate of Pot of Desires went down, and they said, oh, we can probably put this up to 3 again. But now that it's at 3, doesn't that mean its play rate's gonna go back up? Like, what's the deal here? I don't know. I guess like a lot of modern decks don't really want to pay the cost of just 10 random cards just gone out of your own deck, but who knows? I don't know. Spellbook of Judgment is the next card. Who cares? Whatever, man. Add 4 cards to your hand during the end phase? Yeah, yeah, this card isn't going to be doing anything. Sorry. Sprite Starter going to 3 is like fine, I guess. Like, Sprite it really didn't need this at 2. They can have another copy of Starter. Who cares? Not me. Upstart Goblin going from 1 to 3. Another, yet again, kind of a who cares, like, fine. Upstarts at 3, and this is very indicative of where the game is. Why would you ever play a card that all it does is just replace itself with the top card of your deck, when it could be something that could be interacting with your opponent during their turn, you know? Like, if you're going second and you have an Upstart Goblin in your hand when you could be having like a hand trap or another card that triggers during your opponent's turn, Rescue Ace Impulse or Tearlament's Havness, for example, or, you know, cards like that. Great commentary from the chat. Upstart's not great with Prospy at 3. Exactly. Prospy is still at 3 even after this list. I mean, I guess maybe there is no, you know what, I was gonna say maybe there's now like a budget option for those of us who can't afford Desires, but it just got reprinted into the ground recently with the Rarity Collection. I don't think that argument really holds any weight at all. So I believe that's all of the cards that are now unlimited. Now let's look at the semi-limits. We got my boy Pankratops back at 2 copies per deck, which is a little bit strange, a little bit inexplicable when Fenrir is at 3 in the TCG and is clearly just a better version of Pankratops for the most part. Why can't we have 3 of this again, Konami? I don't know. I feel like Pankratops could have gone back to 3 ever since Fenrir like was a thing. But I don't know. Maybe it'll happen next list. Who knows, really? Going second dinos? Maybe pretty good. Well, actually, like any going second deck, I don't know. Pankratops is still good, but it's nowhere near as like solid as Fenrir, right? Fenrir is in a lot more players' hands these days, right? Then we got Speedroid Terror Top going to 2, which is actually maybe a little bit significant. I mean, this is a 1 card like rank 3 or link 2 that doesn't take your normal summon. If this is one of the cards that does eventually go to 3, I could maybe see that being a little bit of a problem. The MX Saber Invoker engine is coming back, question mark? I don't know about that. I don't think Invoker quite has the same power as it used to back in the day. For Speedroid decks specifically, this is really, really cool. I mean, Speedroid is a deck that has something like any given hand in Speedroid contains like 4 or 5 starters. Like, they have so many, like, consistent ways to get to Terror Top, especially now with 2 copies. I don't know. The last time I looked at Speedroid, it was looking pretty impressive. We got, after that, Pearly Sleepy Memory going down to 2, which is another hit to Pearly, which means you can now no longer guarantee hitting a Sleepy off of the Mi Amigo, my friend Pearly. Not like Master Duel. They have the Kitty semi-limited. They're just going after the memories in the TCG here. It's definitely a way to do it. I can't really speak that much on what Pearly is like in the TCG currently, but from what I know, it's one of the top decks out there. They forgot to eat, now they forgot to sleep. Oh god. This cat needs to practice some self-care. Next up, we got the cards that are newly limited. Orcust Harp Horror is finally back. Let's go. And it doesn't really do anything. I mean, Orcust is at like literally full power in Master Duel right now, and no one is playing it. They have 3 Harp Horror in Master Duel, and that has not made a difference. So I feel like it's very funny Harp Horror has stayed banned in the TCG for this long. They must have finally fired the guy that was gatekeeping Harp Horror from coming back into the format. Here he is. Just a little bit too late. Speaking of a little bit too late, Redox, Dragon Ruler of Boulders, is back, but not Tidal. We did not get Tidal back like we did in the Master Duel recent ban lists. But yeah, I think, is this gonna do anything? Probably not. It hasn't done anything in Master Duel yet. Dinos get another buff with Redox? Do you think so? I don't know. I mean, dinos do use a lot of earth monsters, but does this really do that much? I'm not convinced. Then we have Rescue Ace Airlifter going from 3 to 1. Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to hit Rescue Ace, this was probably the best way to do it without hitting like the Diabell Star engine or hitting Hydrant, because those cards are expensive and they sell sets. Then we have Sharvara, Unchained Soul of Sharvara going from 3 to 1. Again, this is like a very low impact way to affect the deck's consistency without hitting like the expensive cards. Not that like Unchained had a lot of expensive cards, to be fair. Sharvara going 3 to 1 is kind of crazy when you think about it, right? I mean, the fact that this deck went basically underplayed in the OCG and it's done so well in the TCG now that Sharvara is now limited? That's crazy. Speaking of crazy hits, we then have Sun Avalon Dryas and Healer going from 3 to 1, and this is just a hit to Jessica Robinson. Let's be real here. These hits definitely do matter. I mean, the standard like Sun Avalon combo used at least 2 copies of Dryas, I'm pretty sure, and I think they tended to use 2 Healer in the extra deck too. What's even crazier after that? This is wild. Actually, you know what? Let's look at both of these together. These are so insane. Like, I don't know what they're thinking, dude. Ib is crazy. Ib is actually just nuts. I can't believe this card ever saw the light of day again. Holy shit. I'm getting acid reflux just like thinking of the memories of this card. It's been a little bit since it was legal, so I don't know what this card is capable of these days, but I'm sure someone's gonna break this card out there. Speaking of decks that can break this card, for Dinos can make this with 1 card. Overraptor into Misk into Jurek Aolo makes Ib. I don't know where you go from there. I'm sure someone's gonna figure it out, right? And then also Snatch Steal. They've done this before. They brought Snatch Steal back. I think it was back in like 2015 or something like that. But what I do know is that this card came back for exactly 1 ban list and was rebanned instantly. I don't know what the deal is with Snatch Steal coming back again. But I guess we'll see. I mean, Isolde is gone, which means the current setup of Mikanko is now no more. But there is a Mikanko setup that uses Psyreflector to go into Power Tool Braver Dragon and can grab a whole bunch of equips out of the deck like that. And this is an equip card. After that, we have the biggest win of this ban list, baby. Let's go! Gozen match, Rivalry of Warlords, and there can be only one. All limited to one copy. Let's fucking go. Let's go! Fuck the floodgates! Floodgates, rip bozo! Get the hell out of here! Okay, let's be real though, chat. This card, there can be only one, should just be at one copy just for the principle of the thing, right? It's literally, there can be only one. Why was it ever at more than one copy in any format? It's one! It's there can be only one. Anyway, whatever. Let's hope that this change lasts for like ever. Obviously, like maybe not forever. Obviously, like the best thing for these cards would probably to put them to 0, but putting them just at 1 is gonna make so many people's lives so much better. Oh yeah, and yeah, Vanquish players in shambles, their boss monster just got limited to 1. That's crazy. There can be only one boss monster. For the forbidden cards, we have Agido and Kekbek finally meeting their maker. See you later. Tearlaments, no longer strongest. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Tearlaments always find a way. So I wouldn't be that surprised to see Tearlaments back in top contention again after they figured out their, what is it, plan like F at this point? Who knows? Tearlaments may still remain strongest. And then we have the funniest hit on this ban list. Circular going from 1 to 0. Why? I don't understand. Like, who? Josh? Was this you? This is definitely a Joshua Schmidt influence here. It has to be, right? Like, Mathmech wasn't even like, I dare to say it, but I don't even think Mathmech was in the top 10 best decks in the TCG right now. I don't know, man. This just seems a little weird to me. This just seems a little strange, a little kooky, a little quirky. There was a time when I think this card was bannable, but it's at 1. Not many people are playing it anymore. I think it would have been fine to keep it, but it's so funny. I don't know, dude. Oh man, I'm so conflicted on this one. Like I feel bad for all of the Cyber/Mathmech players, but at the same time, it's so funny. I don't know, man. It turns out this was the better ban than Diameter, huh? Whatever, man. And then finally, the big one. Isolde, 2 Tales of the Noble Knights going from 3 copies to 0. You're out of here. 2 tails, more like no tails, am I right, gamers? Don't ask if that was supposed to be some sort of punchline. Card has been a problem for far too long, and I'm honestly shocked that it hasn't been banned up until this point. I guess this is maybe the reason why they think Snatch Steal can come back, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, honestly. Full changes on display here. We have the Millers gone, Circular gone, Isolde gone. We have back Harpor, Redox, Ib, and Snatch Steal. Floodgates going to 1 copy each. Plant decks in shambles. A little bit of consistency hits to Rescue Ace and Unchained. Pank back at 2. Terratop back at 2. A little bit of a hit to Pearly. And then we got Infernity Archfiend back. Sure, whatever. Unicorn back. That's fine. Mind Control at 3. That's going to be pretty interesting along with Snatch Steal. Pot of Desires back at 3. yeah, sure. This card is, it's just never going to be doing anything, even at 3 copies. Let's be real. Sprite decks are going to appreciate one more copy of starter, and yeah, it's about time Upstart was at 3. Honestly, kind of a based list. I don't know. Like, I was really looking forward to playing TCG in the upcoming season because of they have the Promethean Princess playmats being given out at regionals, and yeah, now I'm even more excited to get into TCG come 2024. I hope you all are gonna have just as fun with this new list as I will, I'm sure. So we agree Joshua Smith have influence over this list. Yeah, so that's another thing, right? So not only is Circular banned, but there's not a single hit to Runic, nor to Branded. So the Runic like branded bestial the deck that just won the YCS recently is gone untouched. Fire Kings are completely untouched. Labyrinth. In fact, speaking of Labyrinth, where was Dimensional Barrier, Konami? Where's Eradicator Epidemic Virus, Konami? Please, hello. All right. Well, what we'll take it. We'll take it. For the most part, this list is pretty goated. Honestly, I think this might go down as one of the best ban lists, probably ever. Oh yeah, King Calamity. Yeah, King Calamity. That's another one. But I guess like the deck that is currently making King Calamity is maybe a little bit too new, so they didn't want to touch that. Yeah, also D Shifter. That's another lingering floodgate that no one really likes. That maybe should be taking a hit sometime soon. But yeah, overall, pretty good. Pretty good, honestly.